A great anime revelation should leave you searching for your jaw that you just dropped somewhere on the floor. Most of the time, they completely change the story you think they're telling and shift the series in bold new directions. In this video, we've compiled some of the best anime revelations of all time, and we're so excited we just can't wait to talk about them. So let's stop messing around and get into them right now. From the beginning, something was always a bit off about Goku. The kid had a monkey tail, for crying out loud. But the truth about Goku's heritage was a huge revelation that impacted the entire series. It turns out he wasn't just some random kid that was abandoned in the woods by parents scared of his freakish adult face and animal tail. But rather, Goku was an alien born on planet Vegeta, from a race of Saiyans sent to Earth to wipe out all of humanity. Thankfully for all of us, he suffered a bump on the noggin that wiped out all his aggression, and thus became Earth's greatest defender. If only we could change all of our enemies' minds just by hitting him really hard on the head. Life would be a lot simpler that way. Almost right away, we knew that Selim Bradley was going to be a huge threat to our heroes in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Never trust a man with a mustache and an eye patch, for heaven's sake. And that immediately got us worried about his seemingly normal family, especially his young boy Selim. How were our heroes going to rescue this young boy from their monster father? Well, they didn't have to worry about that for too long, because the innocent Selim turned out to be an even bigger monster than his dear old daddy. When it's revealed that Selim was actually the homunculi Pride, and he was the oldest, strongest homunculi, it flipped everything we thought we knew on its head. There's always a big debate about which Attack on Titan reveal is bigger, Annie being discovered as the female Titan, or when Reiner and Bertholdt reveal that they're actually the Colossal Titan and the Armored Titan. Well, why not include both? Sure, we knew people could turn into Titans thanks to our main man Eren hulking out in the first few episodes, but the realization that Eren's friends were actually the other terrifying Titans seemed inconceivable at first. But as the first season went on, it became clear that Annie was the female Titan due to process of elimination. Yet the big reveal was still pretty shocking. Then the next season took it further with Reiner and Bertholdt's big moment after a few episodes of getting the audience on their side before pulling the rug out from underneath them. In the early days of Naruto, Sasuke had a really clear goal: get revenge on his brother Itachi, who mercilessly betrayed his family and massacred their entire clan. Well, in one of the best anime revelations ever, it turns out Itachi wasn't such a bad guy after all. Well, yes, he did take out everyone, but he had a good reason for it. It turns out his clan was doomed anyway by the Konoha official Danzo, who planned on killing everyone in the clan anyway. He gave Itachi a choice: take everyone out in order to save Sasuke's life, or both of them would die along with everyone else. It paints Itachi as a tragic hero, willing to do anything to protect his little bro. Throughout the anime Bleach, Aizen was just another loyal member of the Soul Society. You never expect that this mild-mannered, glasses-wearing, librarian-looking individual was in fact pure evil, especially with those dorky frames. We all mourned his supposed death when he was mysteriously murdered, but that paves the way for the huge reveal that not only was Aizen still alive and had faked his death, but he was actually the show's big bad. You can tell he turned evil because he ditched those glasses and changed his hairstyle to that menacing one lock of hair over the face look that villains know how to rock oh so well. There's a reason why Ace is a lot of people's favorite character in One Piece. He's incredibly superpowered and definitely a strong contender for the Best Big Adoptive Brother of the Year award. Anyways, Ace is all kinds of awesome and is at the center of one of One Piece's greatest revelations. When we find out that Ace's real father is actually the former Pirate King Gol D. Rogers, well, we all reacted in generally the same way all the bystanders did, with a mixture of shock and disbelief. Understandably, it freaked a lot of people out that the blood of the Pirate King still lived on. But we guess they didn't have to worry for too long, as Ace eventually died protecting Luffy and inspired him to go off and train for 2 years to become stronger. Man, we miss Ace. Say it with us. Punch! Okay, got that out of our system. Anyways, the first season of One Punch Man saw Saitama interact briefly with the famed top 10 of S-Class. One of those being the rank 7 Hero King, a mean-looking fellow with a scar that screams, "I ticked off Tony the Tiger." Season 2 opened with more information about King, calling him the strongest man on Earth and showing how much the crowds love him and how often villains need a change of underpants just by hearing his name. But when an uber-strong robot comes to challenge the hero, the audience learns his secret. The huge revelation is King is just an average non-powered dork who loves video games and is actually terrified all the time. He's actually the one taking credit for all the amazing stuff Saitama has done throughout the show. So, the Tokyo Ghoul franchise is a little odd, right? The first season is based off the manga, but the second season, Tokyo Ghoul Route A, was an original alternate story. Then the third season, Tokyo Ghoul Re, went back to being based on the manga. So, for anime viewers, it was quite the revelation that Hide turned out to be alive after watching him so tragically die earlier in the show. Although manga readers knew this was coming, the anime-only watchers were shocked to find Hide back, yet horribly disfigured. We're not here to debate if Tokyo Ghoul Route A did the right thing deviating from the story so much, but it's just nice to finally have Hide back in the flesh. Well, sort of in the flesh. Yes, his face has definitely seen better days. Unless we're watching Game of Thrones, most audiences have a strong belief that good will ultimately triumph over the forces of evil. If the bad guys won all the time, what would be the point of fighting? So, while watching Death Note, the super popular psychological warfare anime that teaches us all to always pick up random notebooks off the ground, we have a good feeling that the good guy detective known as L will find a way to beat the twisted light Yagami in the end. Well, not only did we have our hopes and dreams explode, much like the hearts of Light's victims, but it happened in truly shocking fashion. The reveal that Light had outsmarted L was already a surprise, but the fact that it happened when there were still over 10 episodes left was a game changer. Where would the series go now that it lost its main good guy? Could Light be stopped? When Ryuko saw how terrible evil supervillain Ragyo treated her daughter Satsuki in Kill La Kill, we're positive that Ryuko thought something along the lines of, "Boy, I'm sure happy that that's not my mom." Well, Ryuko, we got some bad news for you, as the ending of the anime takes a Star Wars-like twist in revealing that Ragyo is actually Ryuko's mom too. Bummer. It turns out that Ryuko was originally a life fiber creation that was tossed out like yesterday's trash when thought to be a failure, and it leaves Ryuko questioning everything she thought she knew. Alright, the audience clearly knew something fishy was happening when introduced to the kids at the orphanage in the promised Neverland. On the surface, everything was sunshine and rainbows, with kids living and playing together every day at their beautiful farm, while their loving mom worked to find them a new foster home before they turned 12. Sounds great, right? Well, there are some weird things about this orphanage the closer you look. For one, everyone has numbers tattooed on their neck, and no, it's not a fashion statement. Also, isn't it a little weird how they don't hear from any of the kids who were adopted ever again? You'd think they'd at least send a postcard. We think things are bad, but there's no way we were prepared for the actual truth. It turns out the world is ruled by demons who use these orphanages as farms to harvest nice, juicy brains from human cattle. Why does everybody hate on the shield? When Naofumi is suddenly transported to a fantasy land with 3 other boys and assigned one of 4 special weapons, a spear, a sword, a bow, and a shield, Naofumi is the one stuck with the shield. Perceived as the weakest weapon, no one wants to join his party. Well, no one except Malty, a kind of woman who makes it seem like maybe there's some good to this fantasy world. The unsuspecting Naofumi is quickly robbed and framed for sexual assault by Malty, and it's revealed just how dark this world can be. No one believes him, and Malty turns out to be the king's daughter, revealing more corruption than anyone imagined. A bitter and desperate Iwatani is suddenly outcast and forced to find a way to survive on his own. Koro-sensei in Assassination Classroom looks like an octopus who somehow got into Harvard Law School and then for some reason was given a teaching position. Okay, that's not the actual story. Instead, the students in Class 3E were tasked with killing their yellow freaky fast teacher because Koro-sensei was responsible for blowing up 70% of the moon, which is probably the most supervillain thing somebody could do. But everything changes when it's actually revealed that this hulked-out Pac-Man didn't blow up the moon and only took the blame for it. You see, he's actually infused with antimatter and will eventually explode and destroy the Earth if he isn't killed. The problem is, he isn't quite sure if that's possible, so he decided to act more evil in the hopes that somebody would stop him. It just goes to show that you should never judge a book by its cover. In Fairy Tail, we get quite a few major revelations regarding the hot-headed Natsu. Where to start? Can we begin with the fact that the Fire Mage turned out to be evil Zeref's younger brother who died when he was a boy, and Zeref was brought back as a demon? That blew our minds, and completely changed the dynamic between the two of them. And just when we finally were able to compose ourselves, we were hit again with another bombshell. Zeref's super weapon, End, turns out not to be some object or magical construct. but rather Natsu himself. It's a lot to process all at once. Finding out your brother is evil, you're actually dead, and are a super weapon made to destroy everything, so it's pretty understanding that Natsu is quick to call it all a load of garbage. From the start, the heroic spirit only known by his archer class had a true identity that was shrouded in secrecy in Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works. It was the one big question mark hanging over the series, so the reveal of Archer's true identity better have been good. Turns out that Archer was actually a future version of the main protagonist, Emiyashiro. This was the best way to handle Archer's identity. It gave a major boost to Shiro's personality because, if we're being honest, before this, Shiro was about as interesting as a bland, uncooked potato. The revelation changed everything between the two characters, and made their fight scenes much more epic in scope, because they really just find themselves in a fun Fight Club Looper-esque twist. To say Lelouch in Code Geass had a complicated relationship with his mom throughout the series is a bit of an understatement. For one thing, he starts off the show wanting to avenge her supposed death because he loved her so much. Pretty clear motivation, right? But then his world is suddenly rocked by the revelation that not only is Mommy Dearest still alive, but she was also a dastardly villain that had to be stopped. Sure, Lelouch remembered his mother as a sweet, kind-hearted, loving matriarch with a rebellious streak and a fierce desire to protect her children, but it just goes to show how little we're aware of when we're kids. Lelouch's mom was actually pretty selfish and wouldn't hesitate to kill her children if they got in her way. There are few major rules in life. 1. Don't eat yellow snow. 2. Never go grocery shopping on an empty stomach. And 3. Never, ever trust a creepy cat-like animal that promises to help you become a magical girl. The protagonist of Madoka Magica obviously didn't follow rule number 3, and the adorably terrifying Kyubey promptly ruined all their lives. The creature would come to young girls and offer them any wish they wanted in exchange for becoming a magical girl to fight evil witches. Man, getting your biggest wish granted and getting magical girl powers to fight evil? Sounds awesome, right? Wrong! This is wrong. It's not good. The huge revelation that witches are just magical girls who let their emotions get the better of them, and it's all of their destinies to eventually become witches themselves in some sort of larger plot to save the universe from dying, is horrifying. So don't let Kyubey's cute face fool ya. That's the look of pure evil. That's an evil little kitty right there. Has there ever been a confession of love so genuine, so heartfelt, so emotional as Rem's declaration to Subaru in Re:Zero? Here we have a character with a major inferiority complex thanks to past trauma who we watch slowly overcome her issues thanks to Subaru. And when Subaru is doubting himself and his mission, who's there to encourage him? That's right, it's Rem, who we knew had a thing for Subaru, but had no idea how deep her love truly went. Now comes the moment that made all of our jaws collectively drop. After Rem pours her heart and soul out to Subaru, how does he respond? With a very straightforward revelation that he still loves Emilia. Are you blind, dude? What's so great about Emilia that you can't see true love slapping you in the face? Sure, Rem killed you in a past life, but get over it, you dinkus! It must really suck to find out you're just a split personality and your original identity is that of a psychopath. That's basically what happens in Gintama when our hero's teacher and mentor, Yoshida Shoyu, turns out to be just a shell created by the ultimate big bad, Utsuro, who created multiple personalities to cope with all the suffering and death in his life. You know, like we all do on occasion. This revelation hurt. After spending a lot of time with Shoyu and watching him impart wisdom and guidance on all our favorite characters, we feel like we got a pretty good sense of the guy. But everything changed when Shoyu is captured by enemies and is about to be executed. Apparently having your life threatened was enough for the main personality Utsuro to scream a huge heck no and to break free, taking out all the other personalities and becoming the dominant mind in one really messed up body. Yeah, we know this revelation has absolutely no bearing on the plot whatsoever. But how could we not include the amazing reveal of Kakashi finally showing us his beautiful face after withholding this precious piece of information for so long? After 469 episodes of wondering, fans were finally rewarded for their patience when we got to see Kakashi's face not just once, but twice. And it was everything we could have ever hoped for. Well, not really, because he just looked like a normal dude, but it was such a relief to know he wasn't actually a lizard man in disguise or anything. Although not as game-changing as all the other revelations on this list, this one definitely feels the most cathartic. The mystery around his face was like an itch in the very center of your back, and you just couldn't scratch. And we're glad this one particular mystery was finally solved. Well, that's our list of the biggest anime revelations of all time. Do you agree with our picks? What do you consider the best anime revelation? Be sure to tell us in the comments, or, just tell us how much you love Kakashi, whatever works. And don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more awesome content. Thanks for watching.